Sarah Chen stepped into the medical bay with sweaty palms. The monthly health check was routine for all cadets at Galactic Academy Station Kepler 7, but she still felt nervous. 3 months had passed since Earth died, and every scan reminded her that she was one of the last humans alive. The medical bay hummed with alien technology. Blue lights danced across curved walls made from materials she could not name. Dr. Khalith, a tall being with 4 arms and silver skin, gestured toward the scanning platform with one of her many hands. "Please step onto the scanner, Cadet Chen," Dr. Khalith said. Her voice sounded like music through the translation device. "This will take only a few moments." Sarah walked to the circular platform in the center of the room. Around her, other cadets waited their turn. There was Gorix, a reptile-like being from the desert world of Santh. His scales clicked as he shifted his weight. Next to him stood Yila, whose blue tentacles moved slowly in the air. She came from the ocean planet depths. The scanner rose from the floor like a metal flower opening its petals. Sarah had seen it many times before, but it still amazed her. The Vorthak bioscanner was the most advanced medical device in the galaxy. It could read the life signs of over 1,000 different species. Nothing could hide from its sensors. "Please remain still," Dr. Keyleth said. The scanner began to glow. Beams of light passed over Sarah's body from head to toe. She felt a slight tingling sensation as the machine examined every cell, every organ, every drop of blood. The process usually took 30 seconds, but today was different. The scanner kept going. 1 minute passed, then 2. The light grew brighter and began to change colors. Red, then yellow, then a purple so deep it hurt to look at. Other cadets began to whisper. Dr. Keyleth's 4 arms moved quickly across her control panel. Her silver face showed confusion. "Is something wrong?" Sarah asked. Before Dr. Keyleth could answer, the scanner made a sound like breaking glass. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, casting everything in red light. Then the scanner spoke. It had never spoken before. Sarah knew this because she had asked Dr. Keyleth about it during her first scan. The Vorthak scanner was supposed to be a simple machine that displayed results on screens, but now it spoke in a voice that sounded lost and confused. "Biopattern analysis complete," the scanner said. "Subject identification. Human female, age 19 standard years. Planet of origin, Earth Sol system." Everyone knew this already. Sarah was the only human at the academy now. The scanner continued. "Cellular degradation detected. Organ failure imminent. Blood toxin levels lethal. Estimated time of death 23 days ago." The room fell silent. Sarah felt her heart beating fast. 23 days ago was when Earth died, when the Hegemon Empire released their bioweapon into Earth's atmosphere. "System error detected." The scanner continued. Its voice sounded more confused now. "Subject is standing. Subject is breathing. Subject shows normal life signs despite lethal biopattern." Dr. Keyleth's hands flew over her controls. She was trying to shut down the scanner, but it would not stop talking. Query: how can an Earth cadet still survive? All data indicates death should have occurred. This is impossible according to all known biological laws. The scanner went quiet. Its lights faded to nothing. In the red emergency lighting, Sarah could see every eye in the room staring at her. Gorix was the first to speak. "You should be dead," he said. His voice was rough like stones grinding together. "The scanner is right. No human could survive what happened to Earth." "Maybe the scanner is broken," Yila said. Her tentacles moved faster when she was nervous. "Machines make mistakes." Dr. Khalith shook her head. All 4 of her arms moved at once as she checked her instruments. "The scanner is functioning perfectly. I have never seen it behave this way. It seems confused." Sarah looked down at her hands. They looked normal. She felt normal except for being tired all the time. She had thought that was just from studying too hard and missing home. "What does this mean?" she asked. Dr. Keyleth's large eyes focused on Sarah. "I do not know. The Vorthak scanner has examined millions of beings from across the galaxy. It has never questioned its own results before." More cadets had gathered outside the medical bay. Word was spreading fast through the station. Sarah could hear their voices in the hallway, speaking in dozens of different languages. The translation devices made it sound like a storm of whispers. "I need to contact the Academy Council," Dr. Keyleth said. "This requires immediate investigation." "Investigation?" Sarah felt cold suddenly. "What kind of investigation?" "We need to understand how you are alive when you should not be." Dr. Keyleth explained. The bioweapon that destroyed Earth was designed specifically to target human physiology. It was supposed to kill every human within 72 hours. Sarah remembered those final days. The news reports from Earth had stopped suddenly. Emergency broadcasts had talked about a plague spreading across every continent. Then nothing. Just silence from home. She had been at the academy when it happened. Safe in space while her entire species died. Maybe I'm immune somehow, Sarah said. Gorix made a sound like a laugh, but it was not friendly. No one is immune to hegemon bioweapons. They tested them for decades. They make sure they work. Then how is she here? Yila asked. Her tentacles pointed at Sarah. Dr. Keyleth began packing up her medical equipment. That is what we must discover. Cadet Chen, you will need to undergo extensive testing. This could take days or weeks. Sarah nodded, but her mind was spinning. She thought about her parents back on Earth. Her little brother who had just started school. Her friends from her hometown in California. Were they really all dead? Doctor, she said quietly. If the scanner is right, if I should be dead. What does that make me? Dr. Keyleth stopped what she was doing. Her silver face turned toward Sarah and her large eyes seemed sad. I do not know, child, but we will find out. The other cadets were backing away from Sarah now. She could see fear in their eyes. Even Yila, who had been her study partner and closest friend at the academy, seemed afraid. Sarah was alone again, just like she had been for the past 3 months since Earth went silent. But now it was worse. Now she was not just the last human. She was something that should not exist. The scanner's question echoed in her mind. How can an Earth cadet still survive? She wished she knew the answer. But part of her was afraid of what that answer might be. Dr. Keyleth led her out of the medical bay. As they walked through the corridors of the station, other cadets pressed against the walls to let them pass. Sarah could hear them whispering behind her. Dead world girl, walking ghost. Impossible. Sarah kept walking. Her legs felt heavy, but they carried her forward. Whatever was happening to her, whatever she was becoming, she would face it. She had to. She was the last human in the galaxy, or at least she thought she was. The scanner had asked how she could still survive. Soon, she hoped, they would all find out. Sarah sat in the Academy Council chamber, feeling small in the huge room. Above her, holographic displays showed the faces of council members from across the galaxy. Some had scales, some had tentacles, and some looked like walking trees. All of them stared at her with curiosity and fear. Council leader Thorax spoke first. He was a massive being that looked like a cross between a spider and a crab. His voice rumbled through the translation system. Cadet Chen, we have reviewed Dr. Keyleth's report. The scanner readings are disturbing. Sarah shifted in her chair. 3 days had passed since the medical scan. 3 days of more tests, more questions, and more stares from other cadets. She was tired of being treated like a walking mystery. I still feel normal, she said. I don't understand what everyone is worried about. Dr. Zixth, an insect-like being with silver compound eyes, leaned forward in her chair. She had been studying Sarah's test results for days without sleep. That is precisely the problem, Dr. Zixth said. Her voice clicked and buzzed even through the translator. You should not feel normal. You should be dead. The holographic display changed. Now it showed Earth as it looked 3 months ago, green and blue and beautiful. Then the image changed to show Earth as it was now, brown and gray and lifeless. The hegemon bioweapon was called Deathwind, Council Leader Thorax explained. It was designed over 50 years by their best scientists. They tested it on captured humans for decades. Sarah felt sick. She had known her people were at war with the hegemon empire, but she had not known about the testing. Every test showed the same result. Dr. Zixith continued. Exposure to Deathwind causes rapid cellular breakdown in humans. Death occurs within 72 hours. There are no exceptions. The display showed medical charts and graphs that Sarah could not understand, but she could see the red lines dropping to 0 over and over again. So how am I alive? Sarah asked. We were hoping you could tell us, Council Leader Thorax said. Sarah closed her eyes and tried to remember those final days. She had been at the academy for 6 months, the first human ever accepted into the prestigious school. Her parents had been so proud. Then the reports started coming in from Earth. I remember watching the news feeds, Sarah said slowly. There were reports of a strange disease spreading across all the continents. People were getting sick very quickly. She paused, remembering the fear in the reporters' voices. The symptoms were horrible: fever, bleeding, organ failure. The hospitals could not help anyone. Then the broadcast stopped. Dr. Zixith made notes on her data pad. What were you doing during those 72 hours? I was here in my dorm room. I felt sick too, but I thought it was just worry about my family. Sarah touched her stomach. I had terrible pain here, and I could not eat for days. You experienced symptoms? Dr. Zixith's compound eyes seemed to brighten. Yes, but they went away after about a week. I felt weak for a while, but then I got better. The council members looked at each other. Sarah could see them communicating through their private channels, speaking too fast for the translators to follow. Council Leader Thorax spoke again. Cadet Chen, we need to ask you some difficult questions about your family history. What kind of questions? Were any of your relatives ever exposed to unusual diseases? Did anyone in your family work with biological weapons or alien pathogens? Sarah shook her head. My parents were teachers. My brother was only 8 years old. We lived in a small town in California. Nothing unusual ever happened there. Dr. Zixith stood up and began pacing. Her 6 legs clicked on the metal floor. This makes no sense. Humans are not known for biological adaptation. Your species changes very slowly over many generations. Maybe I'm just lucky, Sarah said. Luck does not explain your cellular structure, Dr. Zixith replied. She activated another holographic display. This one showed what looked like microscopic images. These are your blood cells from 3 days ago, she said. Notice the unusual patterns in the cellular walls. They appear to be reinforced somehow. The image zoomed in further. Sarah could see her cells, but they looked different from the human cells she had studied in biology class. These had strange crystalline structures running through them. Now look at this, Dr. Zixith said. The display showed another set of cells. These looked normal. These are your blood cells from your enrollment medical exam 6 months ago. Completely normal human physiology. Sarah stared at the images. You're saying I changed? More than changed. You evolved. In 6 months, your entire cellular structure has been rebuilt. This should be impossible. Council Leader Thorax's multiple eyes focused on Sarah. There is something else we must discuss. We sent probe ships to Earth last week. Sarah's heart began beating faster. Did you find anyone? Are there other survivors? The planet's surface is completely toxic. The atmosphere is still poisoned with death wind. Nothing should be able to live there. But, Sarah could hear something in his voice. But our sensors detected life signs in the deepest parts of several major cities. Underground in areas where the toxin concentration is highest. Sarah felt dizzy. People are alive. Something is alive, Dr. Zixith corrected. Whether they are still human is unclear. The room fell silent. Sarah tried to process what they were telling her. Her species had not just survived. They had survived in the most poisonous places on Earth. I want to go there, she said suddenly. Absolutely not, Council Leader Thorax said. The surface of Earth would kill any known species within minutes. Even our best environmental suits would not protect you. But if there are people there, Cadet Chen, Dr. Zixith interrupted, we do not know what those life signs represent. They could be humans who have changed like you. Or they could be something else entirely. Sarah stood up from her chair. She felt energy flowing through her body, a strange strength she had never noticed before. I'm going to Earth, she said. Those are my people down there. You are not ready, Council Leader Thorax said. We need to study you more. We need to understand what is happening to your species. While you study me, people might be dying on Earth. Dr. Zixith moved closer to Sarah. Child, consider what we have told you. You have undergone massive biological changes in just 6 months. Your cellular structure is unlike anything we have seen. If there are others like you on Earth, they may have changed even more. What are you saying? I am saying that the humans on Earth might not be human anymore. And neither might you. Sarah looked around the room at all the alien faces staring at her. For 6 months, she had tried to fit in at the academy. She had studied hard and followed all the rules. She had tried to be just another cadet, but she was not just another cadet. She was something new, something that should not exist. I need time to think, she said. Council Leader Thorax nodded. You have 3 days. Then we will decide what to do next. As Sarah left the council chamber, she could hear them talking behind her. She could not understand the words, but she could hear the fear in their voices. They were afraid of her, and maybe they should be. Back in her dorm room, Sarah looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, her dead world where impossible life still existed. She touched the glass and felt something strange. The surface was warm under her fingers, warmer than it should be. Sarah was changing. She could feel it now, like electricity in her blood. The question was, into what? The emergency alarm screamed through Academy Station Kepler 7. Sarah ran from her dorm room toward the command center, her heart pounding with excitement rather than fear. After 2 weeks of endless medical tests and worried meetings, she was ready for action. Commander Vex stood at the central display, his blue skin dark with stress. Around him, officers from a dozen different species worked frantically at their stations. The main screen showed a swirling cloud of purple and green gas. "Report," Commander Vex ordered as Sarah entered with other responding cadets. Lieutenant Morse, a tall being with crystal-like skin, spoke quickly. "Distress signal from civilian transport ship Wanderer. They entered the Poison Nebula 12 hours ago and are now stranded." Sarah knew about the Poison Nebula. Every pilot in the galaxy avoided it. The gas cloud was filled with radiation and toxic particles that could kill most species in minutes. "How many aboard?" Commander Vex asked. 43 civilians, including 12 children. Commander Vex's tentacles writhed with frustration. "Rescue options?" "Limited, sir. The nebula contains Type 7 radiation and Zephyr gas. Even our best environmental suits would fail within 10 minutes. Our rescue ships cannot penetrate that deep into the cloud." Sarah stepped forward. "What about unmanned drones?" "The radiation interferes with all electronics. Remote control is impossible once they enter the nebula." Around the room, officers shook their heads. Sarah could see the hopelessness in their faces. 43 people were going to die, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. "Sir," Sarah said, raising her hand. Commander Vex looked at her with tired eyes. "Yes, Cadet Chen? I volunteer for the rescue mission." The room went quiet. Several officers turned to stare at her. Lieutenant Morse made a sound like breaking glass, which Sarah had learned was how his species laughed. "Cadet," Commander Vex said carefully, "I appreciate your courage, but this is not a training exercise." "The Poison Nebula would kill you in seconds, would it?" Sarah asked. Dr. Zixith, who had been standing quietly in the corner, moved forward. Her compound eyes reflected the light from the displays. "Commander, may I speak with you privately?" she said. They moved to a side room. Through the glass wall, Sarah could see them talking quickly. Dr. Zixith showed Commander Vex something on her datapad. His expression changed from confusion to shock to something that might have been hope. When they returned, Commander Vex looked at Sarah with new interest. "Cadet Chen, Dr. Zixith has shared some information about your recent medical tests. The results are unusual." "Yes, sir. She believes you might be able to survive in the nebula longer than our equipment projections suggest." Sarah felt energy flowing through her body again. It was stronger now, like lightning in her veins. "How much longer?" Dr. Zixith answered. "Based on your cellular modifications, possibly indefinitely." The room erupted in surprised voices. Commander Vex raised his hand for silence. "This is theoretical," he said firmly. "We have no proof that Cadet Chen can survive in that environment." "With respect, sir," Sarah said, 43 people are going to die if we do nothing. If there's even a chance I can help them, shouldn't we try?" Commander Vex studied her face. Sarah could see him weighing the lives of the civilians against the risk to her. "Even if you could survive the nebula," he said, "how would you pilot a ship? The radiation will disable all electronic systems." "I'll take a mechanical emergency pod," Sarah said. "The old-style ones with manual controls," Lieutenant Morse spoke up. "Those pods are museum pieces. No one has used manual navigation in 50 years. I studied ancient piloting techniques," Sarah said. "It was my hobby before the academy." This was true. While other teenagers played virtual games, Sarah had spent hours learning how the first space pilots had navigated by star positions and gravitational fields. Commander Vex looked around the room at his officers. Sarah could see them shaking their heads, but he was considering it. "The risk is enormous," he said. "The risk of doing nothing is greater," Sarah replied. Dr. Zixith stepped forward. "Commander, we could monitor her vital signs by radio until she enters the deepest part of the nebula. If she shows any signs of distress, we order her to return immediately. And if she dies in there, then we will have learned something important about human adaptation," Dr. Zixith said quietly. Sarah felt cold at those words, but she understood. She was not just trying to save 43 people. She was testing what she had become. Commander Vex made his decision. Prep Emergency Pod 7. Full manual controls only. Cadet Chen, you have 1 hour to reach the Wanderer. If you are not back in 2 hours, we assume you are lost. The next 30 minutes passed in a blur. Sarah suited up in the lightest environmental gear available. The engineers removed all electronic systems from the emergency pod, leaving only mechanical controls and a basic radio. Dr. Zixith attached monitoring devices to Sarah's body. These will tell us your condition for as long as the radio works, she explained. What should I expect in there? Sarah asked. Pain, probably. Nausea, certainly. Your skin may burn from the radiation. If you feel your heart stopping, turn back immediately. Sarah nodded and climbed into the pod. The controls were simple. Thrust lever, steering wheel, and basic instruments that worked without electronics. It was like flying an antique car. Pod 7. You are cleared for launch, came the voice from the control tower. Sarah fired the thrusters and accelerated toward the swirling cloud of death. The first few minutes were normal. Space looked the same as always. Then she hit the outer edge of the nebula. The pod shook violently. Purple gas swirled past the windows. Sarah's radio crackled with static. Vital signs stable, came Dr. Zixith's voice. How do you feel? Fine so far, Sarah replied, though her skin was starting to tingle. She flew deeper into the nebula. The gas grew thicker and darker. Her radio connection weakened. The tingling became burning then, something else. Sarah gasped as energy flooded through her body. The burning sensation changed to warmth, then to strength. She felt more alive than she had ever felt before. Doctor, she said into the radio, something is happening. What kind of something? The signal was very weak now. I feel good, really good, like the radiation is giving me energy instead of hurting me. That is impossible, came the faint reply. But it was happening. Sarah could feel her body absorbing the deadly radiation and converting it into pure energy. Her vision became sharper, her reflexes faster. Even her thinking seemed clearer. 20 minutes into the nebula, she found the Wanderer. The civilian transport hung dead in space, its hull scarred by radiation. Sarah could see faces pressed against the windows, people who had given up hope. She docked with the transport using only manual controls, something that should have been impossible for someone her age. When the airlock opened, Captain Reeves of the Wanderer stared at her in shock. You're just a kid, he said. I'm your rescue, Sarah replied. How many can we fit in my pod? 5 at most. We'll have to make multiple trips. Then let's get started. For the next hour, Sarah made trip after trip through the deadly nebula. Each time she felt stronger. The radiation that should have killed her was making her more powerful. On her final trip, carrying the last group of survivors, she realized something amazing. She was not just surviving in the poison nebula, she was thriving in it. When she docked at Academy Station for the last time, the entire command crew was waiting. They stared at her as she climbed out of the pod, looking healthier than when she had left. All 43 civilians rescued, she reported. Commander Vex nodded slowly. Casualties? None, sir. Dr. Zixith scanned Sarah with her portable instruments. Her compound eyes widened in surprise. Cadet Chen, she said quietly, you are not just healthy. You are better than healthy. Your cellular energy levels are higher than when you left. Sarah looked around at all the faces staring at her. Fear, wonder, and something else. Something that might have been the beginning of understanding. She was not just surviving impossible conditions. She was being improved by them. The question was no longer how she could still be alive. The question was what she was becoming, and whether the galaxy was ready for it. Dr. Zixith had not slept in 4 days. Her silver compound eyes were dim with exhaustion as she studied the data streaming across her laboratory screens. Around her, the most advanced equipment in the galaxy hummed and clicked, all of it focused on understanding one impossible human girl. Sarah sat on the examination table, feeling more energetic than ever. The rescue mission in the Poison Nebula had changed something fundamental in her body. She could feel power flowing through her cells like electricity through wires. The results are conclusive, Dr. Zixith said finally. Her voice buzzed with excitement and fear. Cadet Chen, you are no longer entirely human. What do you mean? Sarah asked, though part of her already knew. Dr. Zixth activated the holographic display. Sarah's cellular structure appeared in the air, rotating slowly, but these cells looked nothing like the ones from her enrollment exam 6 months ago. Your DNA has been rewritten, Dr. Zixith explained. Not damaged or mutated, rewritten, by something with intelligence and purpose. The display zoomed in on individual chromosomes. Sarah could see new genetic sequences that glowed with different colors. These sections do not exist in baseline human genetics, Dr. Zixith continued. They appear to be on instructions. Instructions for what? Survival, adaptation, evolution. Dr. Zixith's legs clicked nervously on the floor. The hegemon bioweapon did not try to kill humanity. It tried to improve humanity. Sarah felt cold despite the warmth flowing through her body. That doesn't make sense. Why would they want to make us stronger? They did not, Dr. Zixith said. The bioweapon was designed to kill. But your species did something unprecedented. You fought back at the genetic level. The holographic display changed to show a timeline. Sarah could see the progression of changes in her DNA over the past 3 months. Watch this, Dr. Zixith said. Here is your genetic structure when the bioweapon first reached the Academy through atmospheric circulation. You became sick, correct? Yes, I felt terrible for about a week. Your immune system was losing the battle. The weapon was designed perfectly to target human physiology. You should have died. The display showed red indicators spreading through Sarah's genetic code like a disease. But then something happened that the hegemon scientists never considered. Dr. Zixith continued. Your body did not just fight the weapon. It learned from it. The red indicators began to change color. Green sequences appeared, then blue, then colors Sarah had no names for. Your genetic code absorbed the bioweapon's programming and reversed it. Instead of instructions for death, it became instructions for adaptation. Sarah stared at the display. Are you saying I rewrote my own DNA? Not just you. Every human who survived the initial infection did the same thing. But that is not the most disturbing part. Dr. Zixith brought up another display. This one showed a galactic map with hundreds of red dots scattered across known space. These are reports we have received in the past week, she said. Impossible life signs detected in environments that should kill any known species. Sarah studied the map. The red dots were everywhere. Radiation zones, toxic waste planets, the vacuum of space near dying stars. Humans? She asked. We believe so. But they are not the humans that left Earth decades ago as colonists and explorers. They are something new. Dr. Zixth highlighted one of the dots. This is the mining colony on Sulfur Prime. The planet's atmosphere is pure poison. The colony was evacuated 50 years ago when their life support systems failed. But there are life signs there now. 47 distinct biosignatures. All human-based but heavily modified. They appear to be breathing the toxic atmosphere directly. Sarah felt something stir in her chest. Pride, maybe? Or recognition? They adapted, she said. Yes, but look at this one. Dr. Zixith highlighted another dot. This is near the black hole Charybdis 7. The radiation levels would cook any known life form in seconds. How many life signs? Over 300. They appear to be feeding on the radiation. Sarah stood up from the examination table. Energy coursed through her body, and she realized she could feel something else now. A pull, like gravity, toward the red dots on the map. I can sense them, she said quietly. Dr. Zixith's compound eyes focused on her sharply. What do you mean? The other humans. I can feel them out there. Like they're calling to me. This is new behavior, Dr. Zixith said, making rapid notes on her datapad. How long have you felt this? Since the Nebula mission. It's getting stronger every day. Dr. Zixith activated her communication system. Command, please connect me to the Galactic Council immediately. Priority Alpha. Within minutes, the familiar faces of the council members appeared on the screens around the laboratory. Council leader Thorax looked even more worried than usual. Doctor, what have you learned? He asked. The hegemon bioweapon has backfired catastrophically, Dr. Zixith reported. Instead of destroying humanity, it has created a new species. One capable of surviving in any environment. How many of these new humans exist? Asked Counselor Yeth, a tree-like being from the forest worlds. Unknown. But reports are coming in from across the galaxy. They seem to be gathering in the most hostile environments possible. Council Leader Thorax's multiple eyes all focused on Sarah. Cadet Chen, do you consider yourself human? Sarah thought about the question. She looked the same as before. She felt the same emotions. But she could sense things no human should be able to sense. She could survive things that should kill her. I don't know, she said honestly. I feel human inside, but I'm becoming something else. Something potentially dangerous, Counselor Yeth said. Dangerous to whom? Sarah asked. The question hung in the air. Dr. Zixith cleared her throat nervously. There is something else, she said. The genetic modifications appear to be accelerating. Each generation of new humans will be more adapted than the last. Explain, Council Leader Thorax ordered. The bioweapon did not just change individual humans, it changed human reproduction. Any children born to modified humans will be even more capable of extreme adaptation. How much more capable? Counselor Yeth asked. Dr. Zixith hesitated. Theoretically, there may be no limits. The council members began talking among themselves in their private channels. Sarah could see fear growing in their faces. What does this mean for the galaxy? Council Leader Thorax asked finally. It means humanity will survive, Sarah said before Dr. Zixith could answer. No matter what you throw at us, no matter what tries to kill us, we'll adapt and we'll survive. And what about the rest of us? Counselor Yeth asked quietly. Sarah felt the energy in her body pulse stronger. She could sense her scattered people across the galaxy, growing stronger in their impossible environments. She could feel their hunger for challenges that would destroy entire civilizations. That depends, she said, on whether you try to stop us. The room fell silent. Sarah could see the council members' fear clearly now. They had wanted to understand how one human cadet could still survive. Now they understood that the real question was different. The question was, could the galaxy survive what humanity was becoming? And for the first time since Earth died, Sarah was not sure she cared about the answer. Her people were calling to her from across the stars. It was time to answer. The transport ship shuddered as it entered Earth's poisoned atmosphere. Sarah pressed her face to the window and watched her homeworld grow larger below. The planet looked like a wound in space, brown and gray where it should have been blue and green. Final warning, Cadet Chen, came Captain Torres's voice over the intercom. The surface conditions will kill you in minutes. Even our best scientists cannot survive down there. Sarah smiled grimly. I'm not your best scientists. She had left Academy Station 3 days ago without permission. The Galactic Council wanted to keep studying her while they decided what to do about the human problem. But Sarah could feel her people calling stronger every day. The pull was so powerful now that staying away felt like dying. Dr. Zixith had tried to stop her at the last moment. You do not understand what you are becoming, she had said. What if you lose yourself down there? What if you become something that is no longer you? Then that's what I become, Sarah had replied. Now as the transport approached the landing zone, Sarah could see movement on the surface. Figures that walked upright through clouds of toxic gas that should have killed them instantly. The transport touched down in what used to be New York City. Through the window, Sarah could see the ruins of skyscrapers reaching up through the poisonous fog like broken teeth. Atmospheric seal is holding, Captain Torres reported. But our sensors show massive toxin levels outside. You sure about this? Sarah was already putting on her environmental suit, but she knew it was just for show. She could feel the poison in the air calling to her like a friend. Keep the engines running, she told the captain. I'll be back in 6 hours. And if you're not, then leave without me. Sarah stepped into the airlock. As the outer door opened, she felt the familiar sensation of deadly environment trying to kill her. Her skin tingled, then warmed, then began to glow with energy as her body converted the toxins into strength. She removed her helmet and breathed the poisoned air deeply. It tasted like metal and fire, but it filled her with power. Impossible, she heard Captain Torres whisper over the radio. Her suit sensors show she removed her helmet, but her vital signs are stronger than ever. Sarah turned off her radio and walked into the ruins of Earth. The streets were different now. Plants grew everywhere, but they were not the plants she remembered from her childhood. These were twisted things with purple leaves and silver bark. They thrived in the poison air, and there were people. They came out of the shadows as she walked deeper into the city. At first glance, they looked human, but their skin had a metallic sheen, and their eyes glowed softly in the toxic fog. Sister, one of them said. His voice sounded normal, but there was something else in it. something that spoke directly to the modified parts of Sarah's DNA. "You're from the academy," said another. This one was a woman who looked about Sarah's age. "We felt you coming." "How many of you are there?" Sarah asked. "In this city? Maybe 10,000. Across the planet?" The woman shrugged. "Nobody counts anymore. We just live." They led Sarah deeper into the ruins. She saw that they had not just survived in the toxic environment. They had built a new kind of civilization. Buildings grew from the ground like living things. Technology that worked without electronics powered by the poison itself. "We call it the Deep City," the woman explained. "It grows a little bigger every day." "How?" Sarah asked. "We think it and it happens. The change makes us able to shape matter with our minds. Small things at first, but we're getting stronger." They took her to the center of the city where hundreds of the changed humans had gathered. Sarah could feel their collective power like heat from a fire. When they moved together, the very air around them bent to their will. "We've been waiting for you," said an older man who seemed to be their leader, the one from the stars. "The academy girl, waiting for me? Why?" "Because you're the bridge," he said, "between what we were and what we're becoming. The council fears us, don't they?" Sarah nodded. "They think you're dangerous." "We are dangerous," the leader said simply, "to anyone who tries to hurt us. But we don't want to hurt them." "What do you want?" "To live, to grow, to become what we're meant to become." He gestured at the strange city around them. "This is just the beginning." Sarah spent the next few hours learning about the new human civilization. They showed her how they could reshape matter with thought, how they could communicate across vast distances without technology, how they were becoming something that transcended the limitations of normal biology. But as the day wore on, she felt something else pulling at her attention, a presence in the distance that felt familiar yet alien. "What's out there?" she asked, pointing toward the horizon. The leader's expression grew serious. "The others? The ones who changed too much. Some of our people pushed the adaptation too far. They became something that isn't human anymore. They live in the deep places now in the planet's core where the poison is strongest." Sarah felt the pull growing stronger. "I need to see them." "Sarah, no." The leader used her name for the first time. "They're beyond communication now, beyond anything we recognize as human consciousness." But Sarah was already walking toward the pull. She could not stop herself. Something in her modified DNA was calling to those who had changed beyond recognition. She found them in the ruins of what used to be the subway system. The tunnels went down for miles, deeper than they ever had when the city was alive. And at the bottom, in caverns that glowed with their own light, she found humanity's future. They were beautiful and terrible, beings of living energy that shifted between matter and light. They moved through solid rock as easily as air. When they communicated, it was not with words, but with pure meaning that bypassed language entirely. One of them approached Sarah. When it spoke, she understood without hearing. "You are the question," it said, "the bridge between what was and what will be." "What will humanity become?" Sarah asked. "Everything," it replied. "We will adapt to any environment, overcome any challenge, survive any catastrophe. We will spread across the galaxy and beyond, becoming whatever we need to become. And the other species? They will adapt too, or they will make room for those who can." Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with temperature. "You're talking about replacing everyone else?" "We are talking about evolution," the being said. "The galaxy is changing. The hegemon empire thought they could genocide us. Instead, they gave us the tools to transcend genocide itself." As Sarah watched, more of the transformed humans emerged from the deep places. There were thousands of them, and she could sense thousands more in similar places around the planet. "The Academy Council wants to study us," Sarah said. "They're afraid of what we might do." "They should be afraid," the being replied. "Not because we want to harm them, but because we represent the end of their control over the galaxy." Sarah felt the truth of it in her bones. Humanity had moved beyond the need for governments, for academic institutions, for any of the structures that held galactic civilization together. They were becoming something that could not be governed or contained. A new signal reached her through her modified senses. Ships were approaching Earth. Many ships. "The hegemon empire," she said. "They're coming back." "Yes," the being said. "They want to finish what they started. They believe Earth is still dead." Sarah felt power flowing through her body, stronger than it had ever been. Around her, the transformed humans began to glow brighter. "They're going to learn something today," she said. "What will they learn?" Sarah smiled, and her teeth gleamed like metal in the strange light. That genocide is just another environment to adapt to. Above them, the first hegemon ships entered the atmosphere, expecting to find a dead world. Instead, they found a world where death itself had been conquered. The scanner had asked how an Earth cadet could still survive. Now the galaxy would learn the answer, by becoming something that could not be killed, by becoming the future itself. As the hegemon fleet descended toward Earth, 10,000 modified humans rose from the toxic cities to meet them. They moved like living starlight, carrying the power of evolution itself. Humanity's childhood was over. What came next would reshape the galaxy forever. And Sarah Chen, the impossible cadet from a dead world, stood at the center of it all, watching her species take its first steps toward infinity. The age of human dominance had begun,